Video 31, part 3, the RADS. Right, I've stopped waffling, given myself a good slap and I'm ready to carry on. Here we go. Right, as read, as wrote, as going. Another thing we would get up to at the RADS club was towards the end of the night we would go running around the tables and chairs looking for money and stuff. Yeah, that's right. Right down the... Do you remember each side of the walls in the RADS? I mean, actually, with these photos I'm going to show you some more, what it looks like inside, you'll be amazed. But on the two back walls, you used to get that one long, I suppose, settee sort of thing running across that everybody used to sit on, then you'd have your table and your chairs. Well, I always thought that you'd got one running down one wall, one running down the other, you know, facing the canal, and then in the middle you had two sets of tables. But looking at how wide it was on these photographs, I mean, I'm dying to go back to have a look, it only seems as though, excuse me, they could get one row of tables going down the middle. And I think my mum said that's it, they only used to have one. I suppose as a kid everything, you know, just seemed wider and bigger, because I always thought it was a really big room, but judging by these it must have been a lot smaller than I thought. But we used to everybody used to disappear and we used to look for money, you know, 2p's and 1pence is what down used to, because having little arms is great because you can get right down the back of the cushion, and every now and again you'd find one, you know, that's come away that you could pull away, you know, and then you just, somebody would grabbing your feet so you don't fall in, you're like that, you know, reaching as far as you can and scrambling round for change and stuff. It was fantastic. And the other thing we'd look for was bingo pens. Do you remember the little like dab pens? You know, they used to, with little, not circles, but just I suppose round nib shape. They used to dab on the numbers, but look for them. And another thing they used to do with bingos, they used to have like little metal discs, like little metal squares of, well, metal really, basically, like little, not coins, but like thinner. Thicker but smaller, and they just put them over the numbers, and every now and again somebody would disappear and leave them, and it was just, I think it was just a strange thing to see. We used to collect them, you know, we'd have a handful of metal round discs, you know, and we'd trade them for another bingo pens or stuff, or you'd go and get old tickets, old bingo tickets, and your mum would give you a penny if you'd not found one, and if we got bored we'd draw. Or one of the best ones I remember is my Aunt Rose, bless her. She used to sit there and tear the backs off beer mats or get the bingo tickets, and she'd draw us animals. Like, she used to draw this amazing donkey which kind of looked like a donkey, but I don't know what kind of didn't, but I just used to ask her to keep drawing this donkey, and she'd draw monkeys, and I'd name other animals or whatever, and she'd draw them in pen on the back, and it'd keep me amused for at least 43 seconds. Now, it used to keep me amused for ages. And that was fantastic. It was brilliant, that. I just remembered that one. Anyway, moving on. Where? Around the tables and chairs looking for money and stuff. My dad would tell us to stop it, but as kids do, we would ignore him. But it was always the same, right? We'd be running around, my dad would go, "You're going to knock somebody over in a minute," and you know what it is, you know, you chase each other, you get too excited, you knock a chair going slightly, and he'd turn around and he'd go, "You two, you, pack it in, you, give it some of that." And we'd be like, "Yeah, okay," we'd walk round. You know what it's like, you get to the end, out of arm's reach, and you forget, you start running round again, and no word of a lie, right? My dad would tell us to stop it, but as kids, what we would do is just ignore him. But just as we were getting out of control, we would make a fatal mistake and run back past our own table and be stopped dead by my dad's arm grabbing mine and nearly ripping it out of its socket. So I would sit there and sulk. And then came the next game, right? Join as many straws as possible together and drink the bottle of Coke from as far away as possible. Oh, that was fantastic. I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to load the pictures up. And what I'll do is, as I'm reading back way through this, I'll get these pictures of inside the RADS. There's only a couple, but it just kind of shows you really what it's like now. I mean, all the roof's gone, as you've probably seen, and you've got like trees and bushes growing inside. And here's a couple of pictures that I was sent, so I think there's a couple of them. I'm going to load them up now, and you can kind of look at them sort of thing, and I'll just carry on with this. So here's the first one coming up now. And we made the fatal mistake and run back past our table, and he would stop me dead with my arm and nearly grabbing it out of its socket. So then I would just sit there and sulk. And then came the next game. Join as many straws as possible together and drink your Coke bottle. And that was great, because back then, you know, you get plastic straws now, They weren't plastic back then. Do you remember? They were paper straws, but they were kind of they looked like they'd been rolled around cardboard, or they'd been thickened and rolled. So if you could get a straw and you could literally peel it away, and it'd come away like well, just like a big circular strip. And what we'd do is we'd try and make a little nick and then fold it together, you know, and then push one straw into the other. And we didn't get them from the bar, so we just must have literally gone round, told my dad to get 2 or 3, then gone round everybody's table, nicking everybody's old straws, and then making this and joining them together. And the trick was to see how many you could get together before it collapsed in the middle, and stretch it right over to another table and drink your Coke without knocking the Coke over, which often happened, as I guess you can imagine, as you guess it must have happened to you if you played the same game. So we used to play that game, and as well as fight and argue everywhere. So let's read that again. As well as fight and argue over who had got the most straws, yeah, because my brother always used to say, no, I've got more than him, and I'd be saying, no, I've got more than him, which normally would end up, I suppose, with us fighting in the end, and yeah, and then we get clipped round the ear and told off to pack it in, as you do. And well, yeah, normally we got Coke everywhere, and my brother won, as he always did. Anyway, as I put, looking back, I'm surprised that my dad didn't strangle us. At the end of the night, if there was any Coke left, we would stuff, or my dad would, right, he'd stuff rolled up beer mats in the ends of the bottles and take them home for the next morning. He'd get a beer mat, right, square beer mat, and he'd tear part of it off, and then he'd roll it up as if he was going to make like a Coke stopper, and he'd stuff it in the end. And the trick was whether it was a shopping bag or my mum's handbag, was to keep it stood up all the way home, you know, because it'd still slop out, and eventually the the beer mat would get wet. And we always used to be like, part of it was in the shopping bag over the rest of the turkey sarnies, or in my mum's handbag. And then we used to get in bed. The great thing was, you used to take it, sneak it up to bed with you, and drink it while you're in bed. You know, drink Coke or whatever it was, bottle of Coke while you're in bed, because she never did it, you know, sort of thing. But I think we used to get told off when we had to drink it before we went to bed, sort of thing. And my dad he'd put it in the end, and he'd say, you take it home and you drink it next morning, which never happened. Yeah, fantastic, excellent. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this one here, because we've got 7 minutes, and I'm going to read the last bit. So the next bit will be video part 4.